and helping us out with their insightful inputs. All right, then, shifting our focus to this next major development, and this is a reset between India and China. Let's not forget, Wang Yi was already in the national capital. The first big breakthrough in the ties since the Galwan clash, and that's the big breaking development we're bringing to our viewers. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi wrapped up a two-day visit to India after high-level talks with NSA Ajit Doval, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, and then a courtesy call on Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And Wang Yi's visit saw the 24th round of the special representatives talks on the India-China boundary question. The 24th round of these special rep talks. And both sides have now agreed to keep the border peaceful whilst working towards a long-term settlement. Key outcomes from the talks, of course, include formation of an expert group to speed up the boundary demarcation, a working group on effective border management, a new general level mechanism in eastern and central sectors alongside the existing western one, and crucially, advancing the process of forced de-escalation. The next rounds of boundary talks will now be taking place in China. And in separate meetings with External Affairs Minister Jaishankar, both sides took steps to revive people-to-people and economic ties. Direct flights between India and China to resume soon under a new air services agreement. Earlier visas for tourists, they're going to be easier. Business persons, professionals and media, visas are going to get easier. The border trade reopening at the Lipu Lake, at the Shipkila and the Nathula passes. The Kailash Mansarovar Yatra is going to resume from 2026 using a little bit of the Chinese territory. China is now going to share hydrological data and with India, and this is going to happen during emergencies. Both sides have pledged support for each other's BRICS summits in 2026 and 2027 respectively. They also reaffirmed commitment to multilateralism and vowed to manage differences through dialogue. Kartikeya Sharma, Deputy Managing Editor, News9, with us here on the broadcast. Kartikeya, a major thaw. Can one finally call it with their necks sticking out that this is a major reset in the India-China ties?
Absolutely, Kabir. A lot of people have written articles that Donald Trump wanted to do a reverse Kissinger. You know, Kissinger's master plan was that the China should not become a supporter of Russia, and the entire effort of Kissinger during the 1970s was to ensure that the China and the Russia should not come together. Now, Trump is wanting to be a reverse Kissinger. He does not want Russia to be part of China. Then Russia was a bigger economy, China was a smaller economy, now China is a bigger economy, and Russia is a smaller economy. And Trump does not want Russia to become part and parcel of the Chinese larger system. But in this, what has happened is that it has pushed India to take certain hard decisions. And the hard decision is that the Americans have not respected the certain changes we have made. They have been openly criticizing India for something which our country cannot be blamed. America has a trade with Russia, China has a trade with Russia, Europe has a trade with Russia, but they are penalizing us. So India has opened up other difficult avenues on which public opinion might be different, but then our economic interests are better served with these decisions.
From this entire list of, let's say, easier visas for tourists, business persons, the border trade, the forced de-escalation, the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra, people-to-people ties, after Kazan, the invitation for Prime Minister Modi, which one out of these do you think is the most important, reform that has now come to light?
I would say visas. I would say flights. I would say the decision on rare earth material, fertilizer, and the tunneling equipment. I think let's go by tangibles, Kabir. I think in diplomacy, the words don't matter. What matters is what people do to each other. So I think in terms of tangible, the China has played the game. And okay, let me just reverse the question. What China would like in a broader realm of affairs? They would like India is not closer to United States of America. Indian foreign policy after 1991 has been very closely aligned with the United States of America. But now China also has got an opening with India on certain issues. And now, because of the unpredictable nature of Donald Trump and his big fat ego, which is only concerned about a Nobel Prize, has actually managed to push away India as a good alliance partner. So India is exercising a strategic autonomy. That is why Jaishankar is in Moscow, and we have ensured that not only Wang Yi has a meeting with the Prime Minister Modi, but there have been open statements by A.K. Doval and Jai Shankar which are in public domain. So we have also made it very clear. Do not push India apart. Do not push India so much that it goes to the other camp. So I think this is called hard diplomacy at the high table of the global politics.
We talk about the special representative talks finally, Karthikeya. 24th round taking place here. The next 25th round is going to take place in China now. And when we're talking about the eastern sector, when we're talking about Ladakh, when we're talking about de-escalation, these special rep talks have come in quite handy. For the longest time, people said, what's really happening after the 11th and 12th representative talks? But 24th special rep talks, and it seems like we are in fact getting somewhere as two nations who don't want to, constantly size up the other adversary, but put their point across as well.
More than that, Kabir, I think the bigger picture is that, both China and India have a common border. India and the United States of America do not have a common border. India even does not have a common border with the people, with the society it is close with. For example, the United States of America. But the fact is we can't wish away China, we can't wish away Maldives. That is why in Maldives there's a reset. Prime Minister went there for the 60th Independence Day. So I think what has happened is that the world is now catching by what has happened in Kazan. I think the mystery got decoded in Delhi, but actually Prime Minister of India laid the foundation for some sort of a breakthrough in the Kazan when he went there. I think it's because of the global politics. America wants a deal with Russia. America wants a deal with China. And India, despite being a $4 trillion economy, punches above its weight. And when I say it's above its weight, because we are a soft and hard power together. We are like a smart power. So, which might be resisted by China, which might be resisted by the United States of America. But the fact of the matter is that our aspirations are own aspirations. They might be limited. They might be, I would say, resisted by China, Russia, and even America in long run. But the fact of the matter is that we need to pursue our own politics. I think what you witness today is the real power politics where the normal norms of the international politics have been broken. So, you had League of Nations, you had United Nations subsequently. We might see a new arrangement of political setup, but we are at the cusp of that international relations.
Absolutely right. I think when India tries to punch above its weight, we need to look at the geopolitical realignments that have also come to light. Even as, Zelensky was in the White House, Vladimir Putin made it a point to dial up the Prime Minister, tell him about what really happened in Alaska. Zelensky, flanked by this European entourage, and the BRICS nations also giving each other, calls. And now Wang Yi says that 2026 and 2027 BRICS summits in China and India respectively, I think that's that final glue that's keeping everybody together. And the BRICS nations, how risky this is going to be with a Donald Trump sitting there in the Republican administration in the White House, how these developments now affecting these, fast-track diplomatic parlays, especially with India and China.
You have to understand one thing. For India to say that they are okay with 2026 BRICS, 2027 by us, despite Galwan, it goes on to show that a lot of water has flown on the bridge. One. Secondly, understand that the international politics is about mutual interest. It's not about domestic politics. It's not about the optics. It's about the fact that what suits us today. Today, in the context of Donald Trump, India has taken a stand which is very, very rooted in real politics. I know a lot of criticism will take place, but then it really doesn't make a difference because the interest of the nation comes first. That's number one. And the second important point is that what we witness today, the foundation must have been laid 3 months ago. It means that India must have noticed, the political leaders must have noticed, going by the position which Donald Trump is taking, India needs to realign. So the larger picture is that India today is moving towards closer to the Russian and the Chinese axis than to what it was. So there's an issue with Quad, there's an issue with 2x2. Well, that's what the Americans actually worry about. But the fact of the matter is that there's a deep civil society relationship between India and America. So the world is in flux. And we need to remember one thing, that when it comes to great power politics, only internal strength matters, nothing else, Kabir.
And Kartikeya, before I finally let you go, the last time Rajnath Singh was at the SCO grouping, he declined to sign that joint declaration. How much of developments have taken place between then and when the Prime Minister is going to be in Tianjin later?
Leaders take maximalist position. Yes, you're absolutely right. Now, the Chinese Foreign Minister is going to be in Pakistan. So, can we say that has everything become hunky-dory between India and Pakistan? No, absolutely not. India and China? No, absolutely not. Because China actually fought war with Pakistan in context of Operation Sindhu. So are we to say that we have become best friends? No, we have not become best friends. The diplomacy between India and China is about managing hostile relationships. And I think it is for this reason we should be satisfied that we have been able to create a breakthrough. And it also suits Beijing. We are not at a position of disadvantage.
All
if
right.
Beijing wants multipolarity, it cannot be without India. So India also has a stake. So it's not India that at disadvantage, Kabir. They want multipolarity and we want a space to negotiate. So it is complementary.
Yeah, it's like that winger to striker combination, and both seem to be in the squad. They're not on the bench anymore. Many thanks, Kartikeya. But Kartikeya, do stay on with us. We need your inputs on this next breaking development, because tomorrow what we're picking up and learning is that Home Minister Amit Shah will introduce the 130th Constitution Amendment Bill 2025 in the Lok Sabha. The Government of Union Territories Amendment Bill and the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Amendment Bill will also be within this larger bill. According to the provision, whenever the constitution is amended, one amendment bill is introduced for all the union territories and another separate amendment bill is introduced for Jammu and Kashmir. For the layman out there, Kartikeya, how big of a development is this now? What is going to happen in the Lok Sabha tomorrow?
My understanding is that Jammu Kashmir is not becoming a full-fledged state. But I think there are certain leeways which might be given. We have no idea what is going to happen. I will be very honest with you. I don't think Jammu and J&K is going to get the full independence in terms of full autonomy in terms of being a statehood. I don't think that's going to happen right now. But I think there will be certain administrative, political and economic leeways that they might get. I don't think there's going to be anything more than that. Because ultimately, when we talk about full-fledged statehood, it's a different ballgame, Kabir.
All right. The bill aims to further amend provisions related to governance and administration of union territories, but what exactly is detailed in those bills, I think we'll only find out tomorrow. But you heard it here on News9 first. Tomorrow, Home Minister Amit Shah will introduce the 130th Constitution Amendment Bill 2025 in the Lok Sabha, the Government of Union Territories Amendment Bill, and the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Amendment Bill will be clubbed within this bill. According to the provision, whenever the Constitution is amended, one amendment bill is introduced for all the union territories and another separate amendment bill is introduced for